Medieval India, page number 169, paragraph number 1. At this time, an inquiry was conducted into the affairs of the chief Sadr, Abdul Nabi, who was found to be extremely corrupt and tyrannical in his dealings in the distribution of charitable lands, Madad Imash. He had amassed wealth in other corrupt and mean ways as well. He was a bigot and had inflicted the punishment of death on the Shias and on the Brahmin of Mathura for their beliefs. At first, Abdul Nabi was sheared of his power, and Sadrs were appointed in every province for distributing charitable lands. Soon he was dismissed and ordered to proceed to Mecca for Hajj. At about the same time, in 1580, a fatwa was given by the Qazis declaring Akbar to be heretic. Akbar suppressed the rebellion and gave drastic punishment to the Qazis. To further strengthen his position in dealing with the mullahs, Akbar also issued a declaration or mahzar, which asserted that if there were any conflicting views among those who were considered fit to interpret the Quran, that is Mujahideens, Akbar, by virtue of being the most just and wise king, and his rank being higher in the eyes of God than the Mujahids, was entitled to choose any one of the interpretations which would be of benefit to the nation and in the interest of good order. Further, if Akbar issued a new order in conformity with the Quran and calculated to benefit the nation, all should be bound by it. The declaration, which was signed by the leading ulmas, has been wrongly called the decree of infallibility. Akbar claimed the right to choose only when there was a difference of opinion among those qualified to interpret the Quran. At a time when there were bloody conflicts between the Shias, the Sunnis, and the Madhvis in different parts of the country, Akbar wanted the widest toleration. There is little doubt that the Mazhar had a statutory effect. Mazhar had a salutary effect in stabilizing the religious situation in the empire. But Akbar was less successful in his effort to find a meeting ground between the votaries of different religions in the country. The debates in the Ibadat Khana had not led to better understanding between different religions, but to great bitterness, as the representatives of each religion denounced the other and tried to prove that their religion was superior to others. Hence, in 1582, Akbar discontinued the debates in the Ibadat Khana, but he did not give up his quest for truth. Even his bitter critic Badayuni says, night and day people did nothing but inquire and investigate. Akbar invited Purushottam and Devi to expound the doctrines of Hinduism and Maharji Rana to explain the doctrines of Zoroastrianism. He met some Portuguese priests in order to understand the Christian doctrines better. He sent an embassy to Goa requesting them to send two learned missionaries to his court. The Portuguese sent Aquaviva and Montserrat, who remained at Akbar's court for almost 3 years and have left valuable account. But their hope of converting Akbar to Christianity never had any basis. Akbar came into touch with the Jains also, and at his instance, the leading Jain saint of Kathiawar, Hira Vijay Suri, spent a couple of years at Akbar's court. Contacts with the leaders of various religions, reading of their learned works, meeting with the Sufi saints and yogis gradually convinced Akbar that while there were differences of sect and creed, all religions had a number of good points which were obscured in the heat of controversy. He felt that if the good points of various religions were emphasized, an atmosphere of harmony and amity would prevail which would be good for the country. Further, he felt that behind all the multiplicity of names and forms, there was but one God. As Badayuni observed, as a result of all the influences which were brought to bear His Majesty, there grew gradually, as an outline of a stone, the conviction in his heart that there were some sensible men in all religions. If some true knowledge was thus everywhere to be found, why should truth be confined to one religion? Badayuni asserts that as a result, Akbar gradually turned away from Islam and set up a new religion which was compounded of many existing religions: Hinduism, Christianity, Zoroastrianism, etc. However, modern historians are not inclined to accept this view and think that Badayuni has exaggerated. There is a little evidence to prove that Akbar intended or actually promulgated new religion. The word used by Abul Fazl and Badayuni for the so-called new path was Tawhid-e-Ilahi, which literally means divine monotheism. The word deen or faith was not applied to it till 80 years later. The Tawhid-e-Ilahi was really an order of the Sufistic type. Those who were willing to join and those whom the emperor approved were allowed to become members. Sunday was fixed as the day for initiation. The novice placed his head at the feet of the emperor, who raised him up and gave him the formula called Shast in the Sufi language, which he was to repeat and concentrate upon. This contained Akbar's favorite motto, Allahu Akbar, God is great. The initiates were to abstain from the meat as far as possible, at least in the month of their birth, give a sumptuous feast and give alms on their birthday. There were no sacred books or scriptures, no priestly class, no place of worship or rituals and ceremonies except the initiation. Badayuni says that the members had four grades of devotion, that is, sacrifice of property, life, honor, and religion. These again were like the grades the Sufi passed. Giving up religion apparently meant giving up attachment to the narrow concepts and observances which again were in keeping with Sufi ideas. Akbar did not use force, nor was money used for making disciples. In fact, many leading nobles, including the great Hindu nobles except Birbal, declined to join. However, the four grades should not be confused with the Tawhid-e-Ilahi. Under the latter, a large number of persons joining the disciples or, or the murids of the emperor. In enrolling murids, Akbar evidently had some political purpose also. He wanted a band of nobles who would be personally loyal to him and support him in his concept of a state based on sul-e-kul, that is, equal toleration of and respect to all sections irrespective of their religious beliefs. Orthodox elements such as Badayuni neither sympathized or supported such a state. Hence, the ascribes the move of Akbar to enroll disciples to Akbar's heads being turned by many unworthy flatterers and panegyrists who suggested to him that he was the Insan Kamil or the perfect man of the age. It was their instance that Akbar initiated the ceremony of pabos or kissing the floor before the sovereign, a ceremony which was previously reserved for God. There were many precedents of rule combining temporal and spiritual powers in their person. Abul Fazl says that it was natural for people to turn to their ruler for spiritual guidance, and that Akbar was well qualified to lead the people to spiritual bliss and to establish harmony among warring creeds. The Tamid-e-Ilahi virtually died with Akbar through the practice of enrolling murids and giving them a shast was continued for some time by Jahangir. However, Akbar attempted of tying the nobles to the emperor by personal bonds succeeded. Many nobles continuing to pride themselves as being the banda or slaves or murids of the emperor. Also, they did not by and large support elements of propagating religious orthodoxy in social and political matters. However, the habit of looking upon the king as someone having miraculous powers so that people could be cured by the king's touch or by his breathing upon a pot of water continued. And even a strict ruler such as Aurangzeb could not shake off this belief. Akbar tried to emphasize the concept of sul, sulkul, or peace and harmony among religions in other ways as well. He set up a big translation department for translating works in Sanskrit, Arabic, Greek, etc. into Persian. Thus, the Singhasan Battisi, the Atharva Ved, and the Bible were taken up first for translation. These were followed by the Mahabharata, the Gita, and the Ramayana. Many others, including the Panchtantra and the works of geography, were also translated. The Quran also translated perhaps for the first time. Akbar also introduced a number of social and educational reforms. He stopped sati, the burning of a widow unless she herself, of her own free will, persistently desired it. Widows of the tender age who had not shared the bed with their husbands were not to be burnt at all. Widow remarriage was also legalized. Akbar was against anyone having more than one wife unless the first wife was barren. The age of marriage was raised to 14 for girls and 16 for boys. The sale of wines and spirits was restricted. Not all these steps were, however, successful. As we know, the success of social legislation depends largely on the willing cooperation of the people. Akbar was living in an age of superstition, and it seems that his social reforms had only limited success. Akbar also revised the educational syllabus, laying more emphasis on moral education and mathematics, and on secular subjects such as agriculture, geometry, astronomy, and rules of government, logic, history, etc. He also gave patronage to artists, poets, painters, and musicians, so much so that his court became famous for the galaxy of famous people there, or the Navratna. Thus, under Akbar, the state became essentially secular, liberal, enlightened in social matters, and a promoter of cultural integration. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This was the last line of page number 171, that is the end of chapter number 13. We'll see you again in chapter number 14. Till then, all the best, take care, and do share and subscribe the channel and keep supporting our efforts. Thank you. If you have any comments, do write in the comment section below and we'll definitely help and answer them. And all the best. If you have any suggestions for us, do put in the comment section and we'll look at them. Till then, thank you everyone. All the best for exams. Do study hard and well. And yes, thank you, and that's it.